Red Hood and the Outlaws, number 19, written by James Tynion IV, art by Julius Gopez. This isn't Scott Lobdell anymore. This is James Tynion IV, and it will be for a little bit of time. So I'm just going to take this as best as I can. So, last issue we had, I believe, was the whole thing of him coming to terms with Damien's dying, but like he didn't actually know Damien died. It was just this whole thing of, what did the Joker do to me? So this issue picks up in the Himalayas. Apparently, for some reason, he's coming on a first-class Wayne Enterprises jet from Ethiopia, and it says, check out Red Hood and Batman issue 20 for how we got there. So I guess we'll figure that out eventually. But regardless, the plane is attacked by a whole bunch of like mercenaries that are coming from the government of the area or just some local crime lord, and Jason's inside being like, guys, get off my plane, I'm really not in the mood. And they say, oh, well, you give us your money, rich boy. And he's like, oh, you have no idea who you're messing with. Then 2 hours later, the plane is crashed, and we see Roy and Starfire are at the scene just trying to find Jason. And they go over to local townsfolk who have arrived, and they're like, hey, we're superheroes, and we're here looking for a place called the Acres of All, which belong to the All cast, because Jason's probably there. So you guys know anything about that? And they're like, no, it's, no English. Don't talk about that. Bye. So they all leave. Until one little old woman steps up being like, they know, they just don't want to tell outsiders. Like, here's the thing. Going to the All cast is a death sentence. If you try to get to where you're going in those mountains, you will die. And they're like, okay, but we got to try because our friend is out there. So and she specifically says, you need to instill the values of the All cast in order to find the Acres of All. And so Roy's like, I mean, I've listened to what Jason had to say. I think I can do that. Let's go. And as they leave this woman, she transforms into Essence. And she's like, well, if they're not going to listen to a little old woman, I'll get them to listen in other ways. So 8 hours later, Roy's trudging through snow. And he's remembering things Jason said about how it's about accepting your darkness and making peace with it and like doing good with it. And that's the proper way to do the All cast. So Roy just keeps repeating that mantra over and over again, accept the darkness, commune with it. And Starfire comes up and is just like, all right, well, I've looked around for miles and I can't find anything in these hills. And Roy's like, these are the Himalayas. What do you mean hills? These are the biggest mountains we got on Earth. And she's like, that's pathetic. So Roy is apparently getting sick and he's not doing great. Starfire's like, no, you've got like a fever going on. We need to get you settled up. And Roy's like, no, you don't understand. These past few months, they've been the best of my life working with you guys. I can't just let it all slip away now. I have to find him. And Starfire's like, okay, we'll keep going, but after we take a break. So they go into a cave and Essence is like, okay, I'm just gonna stop him a little bit. And then the ghost of Dukra, the teacher of Jason, is like, hey, Essence, stop. Like, he's got will in his heart, and this is the whole reason he's able to get as far as he has. He's trying to do something right, and the deep love for his friend is truly what's like necessary here. Don't interfere. And Essence like, nah, I'm gonna. So she turns into a smoke demon that invades his dreams and is saying like, I'll just give him a nightmare and that's not a direct interference. If his dreams say to do something, it's like Inception, you know? We're just going to incept him. So they go into his dream and all these people from Roy's past, which is some Native American man I'm not familiar with, Oliver Queen, Killer Croc, and Hugo Strange, are all basically saying like, oh, you've messed up your life beyond repair. We expected so much better of you. You're not great. And they all start like firing arrows into him. And they just keep taunting him, calling him names, saying he's like the weak link and he threw away his life. And the other two members, they've had their lives stolen from them. But he's just pathetic because he gave it all up. And as they start ganging up on him, he's like, no, I commune with my darkness and I accept it. And he gets Super Saiyan or whatever. He starts fighting back against them with a golden bow, and he fights them all off. And he's like, there's nothing that's going to stop me from finding my friend. And Essence's essence comes out of Roy. He wakes up, and he's like, oh, God, why does it taste like I smoked a cigar? And he rolls over to Starfire and says, like, hey, I know where the entrance is. I've seen it in my dream. I know where I can find Jason. And he just points over to the face of this mountain, and Starfire picks him up and is just like, if I'm about to fly face first into a mountain, I'm going to kill you. He's like, that is completely fair. But they fly through a portal that ends them up in the Acres of All. And they're like, all right, cool. That was the hard part, is getting here, right? Like, we can find Jason easy in here. And they're immediately met by, as far as I can describe them, as Triceratop wolves. They are immediately attacked. They start a fight scene where Starfire's blasting them and Roy's firing off like foam arrows so they can't bite down. Then this huge one shows up that they're no match for, but its head is immediately lopped off by Jason. And he's like, hey, this place is dangerous. You and your friend get out of here. And they're like, what? Dude, we just went through hell to get to you. Come on, man. We want to know what's going on. We're here to help you. And he's like, I don't know who you people are. And they're like, okay, funny, but like, seriously though. He's like, no, seriously though. You're calling me Jason. I mean, I think that sounds right, but like, I don't know. It's not ringing any bells for me. And they're like, what happened to you, man? And then Saru from issue 3 shows up, and he's like, hey guys, I have the ability to take memories. Do you remember me? I did that. And they're like, well, what do you do to him? And he's like, no, it's what he asked me to do. And apparently Jason showed up to Saru and was like, here's the thing. The previous few issues have made me think that the Joker has influenced not only the worst parts of my life, but also recent times. Like, he's turned me into me. And if that's true, I can't live with that anymore. I can't live with the knowledge of Joker influencing my life. So I want you to take away everything in my memories that he has touched or that his influence has any part of at all. And so he's like, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do this. And he takes all of Jason's memories away. And that's it. That's where the issue ends. Is now we're going to figure out exactly what Jason has been up to, maybe, I guess, or what type of person Jason is. Here's the thing. This is a new writer. This is James Tynion popping in on what Scott Lobdell has exclusively been doing for about 2 years now. I appreciate that. I appreciate you wanting to come in and say, all right, clearly there's been a lot of stuff going on with Jason. We're just going to wipe the slate clean, and then we're going to explicitly just drip feed into here's what new Jason is. This issue was getting into here's what Roy is. Here's what drives him. Here's his motivation. All that stuff, great. I think my biggest issue with starting this run is that he's still beholden to all of the old stuff. The fact that we have Essence running around doing whatever it is Essence is doing. I don't at no point do they say Essence wants to stop them from getting to the Allcast because it's just a thing of, no, we just expect her to not want them to get there because. So yeah, I think that the weakest part is what has been forced to be carried over. I would have much rather they just said, oh yeah, Red Hood, he's now just a guy in, I don't know, Detroit, doing whatever he wants to do. Like, we never make reference to this all-cast stuff again. I would have been totally cool with that, but I appreciate him at least attempting to go back and explain, here's what we're doing with the characters and here's how they work. We're going to get ourselves reemerged because it's gotten a little bit sloppy. So overall, I'm going to give this one I'll give it a 7.5 if I'm being honest. I think I'm excited for the new stuff while I'm just a little bit skeptical of how much are we actually going to be able to wipe the slate clean. So 7.5.